The streets of Detroit are home to a life and death struggle.
We gangsters, thugs, mobsters, don't give a about life.
I lost a leg to this, man.
Detroit's gangs and the guns they wield threaten the lives of kids who spend every day growing up in fear of other kids.
Hey, the young girl over here on the ground, she's been shot in her side.
This is where we need it. This is where it came out.
Coming in! Police, coming in! Police!
Now, an elite police unit has been tasked with turning the tide in a war that's raged for decades.
Once they see this, they tend to think twice.
With aggressive tactics and unparalleled street smarts, they infiltrate a world of gangs, guns, and deadly consequences.
You can't be perfect trying to control an imperfect world.
Hands behind your back, don't mess it up.
There's a whole lot of motherfuckers out here.
The police, that's what we think of them.
Don't let no guards down. We going in hot, we going in ready.
Get back, get out of here, get back.
Bang it, bang it.
Let me see the goddamn hands.
Let's get out, let's get something.
Everybody in? I really need all of y'all. I really do. I need the whole gang unit. I mean, you guys have came in early and we try to hold you on the back end. I know we're working the mess out of you, but it is what it is. You know, don't come in thinking, okay, I'm gonna get an early Friday night a chance to go to the movie. You had to go to the movie on Saturday, matinee.
So thank you for being very professional. Just keep up the good work. Let's be careful. Let's go.
I'm back to where y'all left, please, in one piece. Thank you.
Detroit's first line of defense against gang violence is the police department's Gang Enforcement Unit, AKA the Gang Squad.
We hunt the hunters.
We get them before they're able to do anything. That's the whole concept. What's up, gentlemen?
The squad is a 70-officer force that employs deep intelligence gathering and aggressive street enforcement to penetrate the world of gang culture.
Our main focus, gangs, guns, and drugs, preferably guns.
In the wake of a recent gang shooting at a school bus stop, the squad is hitting the streets in full force,
Hands up, fella.
making street-to-street searches and traffic stops. And their aggressive tactics aren't always understood by the people they protect.
We get harassed 24/7 every day, though. Every day. And we ain't even do nothing.
We get our civil rights violated in Detroit. This ain't the place to be, people.
Stay in New York, New Jersey, Canada, Australia. Don't come to 313. If you get to that area code, you're doing something bad.
They, for some reason, think we don't have nothing better to do than just ride around and mess with people until they're a victim.
Every day is different. No day is the same. You'll hear people say we were on routine patrol. It's never routine. Put your hands, big fella. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. My man.
At a gas station on Greenfield Road in northwest Detroit, officers Shooter, Pelly, and Hollywood stop a vehicle for what they suspect is an open intox violation, an open container of alcohol.
Think about it. Cuff the driver.
What they discover is a much deadlier brew.
Going, out. Now, if you move and make any sudden move, your nose is gonna be splattered all over your face.
Glock 23, 40 cal.
You definitely going, even making them
25 round extended clip.
Definitely going.
The extended clip on the handgun suggests it's being carried for more than just personal protection.
And this is how we avoided a shooting. You notice how long that magazine was. Today was a hit day. You don't carry no gun that small with a magazine that long unless you're gonna take somebody out.
Backseat of the car is full, you might want to hold on.
Gun a day is a life saved, just like an apple a day keeps the doctor away. That's my MO.
Detroit is a city of approximately 900,000 citizens, with one of the highest per capita murder rates in the U.S. It has also been hit harder by the economic downturn than any other major American city, with a nearly 30% unemployment rate. Kids in Detroit are now at greater risk to gang violence than ever before, and the availability of guns has made it easy for hard times to turn tragic. June 30th, 2009.
Detroit 911. Yes, I'm right here at the gas station on Warren and Southfield. Okay. I got a young girl over here on the ground. She's been shot in her side or her stomach or something. Okay, no, don't move, baby. Don't move.
I couldn't really feel the bullets go in, but it's just everything feel numb, but at the same time you can feel a lot of pain. It hurts so bad, like pain you cannot control.
She got shot in her abdomen and her arm.
Okay, who else was she the only person shot?
No, it's a whole group of people, kids. It's a whole bunch of kids. Okay. Baby, be still, don't move.
17-year-old Tiara Dickerson was just one of 7 teenagers hit by gunfire while waiting at a bus stop after school.
It was just a lot of things going through my head. Like, I was thinking, like, I don't want to die, and I hope I make it, and what's going to happen. I hope the police hurry up and come.
Chaos and confusion in the middle of the afternoon. At least 7 people shot, 5 of them summer school students at the Cody 9th Grade Academy in Detroit.
At one point, the pain was so bad that I felt like I did want to die. But then I thought about my mom, my family, and everybody, so I decided to, try to stay strong.
The attack sent all 7 victims to the hospital, 2 in critical condition, and it lit off a firestorm in the local press.
This is a case that ought to be symbolic to all of us because there were so many kids who were victimized at one time in broad open daylight.
The ruthless nature of the shooting and the young age of its victims suggests that this was a case for the gang squad. Detroit police quickly called on Sergeant Todd Eby to work with Gang Squad on the investigation.
But some of the evidence that was at the scene were ballistics firearms evidence, like spent casings. We had a videotape, a surveillance video from the gas station.
Police now actively searching for that green van, and we're told surveillance cameras on the bank and the gas station at this intersection will help with this investigation. Those tapes are being reviewed right now.
In a case with very little forensic evidence to work with, the security cams caught the entire incident in startling clarity.
It's about 2:15 in the afternoon. It's sunny. This is the gas station parking lot. Just north of the gas station is Cody Academy, where the kids went to school. From the left, you'll see 2 individuals run towards the bus stop armed with guns firing. We know that they're semi-automatics. We know that one's a 9mm and one's a .40 caliber. When the shooting begins, you can see the crowd scatter. Most run westbound, a few run south towards Warren. And although you can't see everybody involved, you can clearly see 2 specific people that are hit. The whole incident takes 10 seconds, and there's probably about 15 shots that are fired during the course of that brief period of time.
From the videotape and eyewitness accounts, Sergeant Eby quickly confirmed the incident was gang-related and that the motive was revenge.
One of these people that was shot was a rival gang member, and the other 6 people that were shot were, for lack of a better term, collateral damage.
Now, Sergeant Eby is teaming up with the Detroit Gang Squad to identify the shooters and hunt them down.
We're headed to the gas station right now, and Officer who is a member of the gang squad, him and I are going to kind of reenact or reconstruct the crime scene.
This man is an intelligence officer with the Gang Squad. Known for his sense of style, he goes by the code name GQ. To protect his identity, GQ's real name will not be revealed.
So it started over by this daycare. There's the 2 daycare workers saw them get dropped off. They knew something was suspicious. They came back right here, took off their T-shirts, wrapped them around their face, and then made a beeline towards that bus stop.
Do you think that they were targeting just one person?
We're pretty confident in saying that 6 of the people were unintended targets. The only thing they were guilty of doing that day was going to school and waiting at a bus stop. You know.
What can Gang Squad do?
You guys need to do what you normally do in these situations where you increase enforcement among the gang members, and you know, at some point, somebody is going to tell us who did this. I don't believe for a minute that there's all these people out here at that time of day and these gang members don't know what happened or who did it. But clearly, people know. And I think you guys do a good job of, putting pressure where pressure needs to be placed, and I think that's what needs to be done here.
As one of Gang Squad's intelligence men, GQ's mission is to work the streets for inside information on the bus stop shooting. That means cultivating sources and keeping his identity as a cop low-key. Sometimes even working undercover.
What it is that you going out here and you mingling with the people in society every day, and to gather information to curtail crime.
Gathering intel from gang sources is an investigative skill few officers have. GQ's ability to get people on the street to trust him comes from a lifetime of experience.
Being raised and born on the west side of the city of Detroit, I know what it feels like to not have enough food. I know what it feels like to have my lights and gas shut off. I know what it feels like to have parents who are on drugs. One thing is just your attire and then the way that you talk, and then you gotta know exactly where you are. You're trying to get information from the west side of Detroit. You know that the west siders, they look a certain way, they dress a certain way, because perception means a whole lot. I've got maybe 50 or 60 sources out here, so my reputation kind of speaks for itself.
To GQ, sources are everything. But in neighborhoods like West Detroit, talking to the police can get you killed. GQ needs to find people vulnerable enough to spill what they know.
We're going into the Southwest District, and we're going to gather some gang intel. They're just guys that have been arrested in the precinct for various crimes, and based on their crimes, we're going to ask some general questions and see exactly what we can come up with.
The best source of information on a Detroit gang is often a member of a rival gang. Today, GQ is talking to young men who have just been arrested and who are likely to have gang ties.
How you doing, man? You all right?
If GQ can get them to open up, it could lead them one step closer to the bus stop shooters.
How old are you?
18.
18? They call me GQ on the street. What do they call you?
I don't have it. They just call me
Just have you called your mom? Okay. What are they claiming? Claiming that you had?
Marijuana.
How much?
4 bags.
Oh, 4 bags? They brought you in here on some BS like that? Okay. That can be worked out.
By appearing sympathetic, GQ uses his personality to earn trust. And trust can lead to truth.
How many people are pretty much in the clique?
I just hang around like 7 people, basically.
Do you think that any of those guys would be willing to take a bullet for you?
Big T.
Big T?
He in jail, no.
He's locked up for what?
Stealing cars.
Stealing cars?
Yeah.
Who else?
My friend Buck.
Buck?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna take you back and have... I couldn't get him quite to give me the information that I really wanted and I was looking for, but that's the start. Hey man, how you doing?
The next perp has been arrested in connection with a shooting known as an A1 charge.
I understand you have a daughter or son? A son. Junior.
Just thinking about my children.
I know, man.
Me, like I'm saying, I ain't just saying like no gang type. We ain't on no gang type stuff. We
What is it?
We family.
He's in here on an AWIM charge, and I know he just pretty much lied through his teeth.
Like I'm saying, like friends is really closer than your family to people now. Cause like I said earlier, people don't got family like that. They family deny them to the left, you know? The world crazy to me. They need a lot of work to this world. I mean, people need jobs. Everybody out here starving. Everybody out here hungry.
I miss my family. I've been in here for 2 days. I miss my daughter. I just want to get out of here. You know, oftentimes they tell you anything.
I'm supposed to be in here. I'm not that person. I'm not.
They're out there on the streets murdering, selling dope, and they come in here and they act like a bunch of 3-year-olds crying and whining all day long. So you just get used to people lying to you all day.
Gang violence is youth violence. Kids in Detroit are often affiliated with a gang before they're even teenagers. Gangs here are younger, smaller, and less organized than in other metro areas. Recently appointed Police Chief Warren Evans is facing a criminal culture that bears little resemblance to the highly structured street gangs of the West Coast.
They're almost like neighborhoods or block gangs. And so they beef with each other quite a bit. It's not as organized as LA gangs or maybe even Chicago gangs.
In the late 1970s, the gangs were organized in which you had a structure of one person was in fact like the CEO. Now you don't have that.
In some ways that's good, but in other ways it makes the intelligence gathering more difficult because you have so many small little groups and gangs and trying to figure out the dynamics of who's beefing with who and who the necessary players are.
Compounding the challenge is a phenomenon that's taken root in urban culture, not just in Detroit, but across the U.S. It's called Stop Snitching.
No one wants to ever be labeled as being a snitch, of talking to the police and giving information about individuals as it relates to committing crimes. Once that gets out, and they say, man, you've been talking to the police about what we're doing on the street, it'll be over for them.
They'd rather see the person dead than in jail.
The bus stop shooting took place in broad daylight, in front of multiple eyewitnesses. Now, pressure from the streets to keep quiet has made what could be quick justice an open case. Detroit's most shocking act of gang violence in recent history, a bus stop shooting that claimed 7 victims, has so far surrendered no promising leads. But Gang Squad has a new addition to the intelligence team, and his code name is Sandman.
Sandman is aggressive, tenacious, very smart. He's very, very valuable because of his street connections there.
Sandman is from East Detroit, and the gangs he grew up around are more than just neighbors. They're family.
I got a nice little number of people in my family that's in the gang. They don't bring it around me. You know, they know I don't play it.
Several of Sandman's cousins belong to a gang known as the 7 Mile Bloods. They're based in eastern Detroit and control a section of turf known as the RedZone.
It's a little more dangerous dealing with a non-traditional gang because they're trying to make a name for themselves. So they're gonna always be more dangerous because they feel like, okay, if I do this, it's gonna put us on the map.
Keeping personal relationships with gang members is a critical part of Sandman's strategy. Those relationships can lead to intel on the bus stop shooting.
Hello? Yeah. Okay, don't run. You tell them motherfuckers don't run. I'm gonna call this number back as soon as I pull up on the block. I should be pulling up in maybe like 5 minutes. Okay. Here they go down here in the street.
The youngest gang member here is only 13 years old.
You pretty much stuck in Southwest, you know what I'm saying? Because they like for real blood in, blood out down there.
Gangsters, thugs, monsters, don't give a about life. I lost a leg to this, man. Hey, look around. Do this. Ain't no running from it. Everybody's 7 Mile Blood. Yeah, family over here. No outsiders, like I've been saying, man. Don't trust them, man. The police, that's what we think of. Prison ain't shit. What you talking about?
Y'all know what it is. 7 Mile Blood Gang. Run this man. Just tell y'all about it.
Tell y'all about it, man.
Free hop. Good life. Isn't shooting, man. Isn't shooting. Don't get it.
Living in the city of Detroit, it's so easy to get caught up in peer pressure and what other people actually think about you. Nobody want to be considered to be soft.
You know, my father was a very good disciplinarian. I think if it had not been for him, I probably would have, succumbed to the streets. Most of my friends, they didn't make it. And, sometimes you have to think that some kids in these neighborhoods, they never get a chance to get out of the neighborhood.
It's just getting, worse each year. And everybody has a mind of their own. So if somebody feel like they want to be in a gang and go kill somebody to get recognized, that's what they're going to do, no matter who tries to stop.
See murder, bitch. Bang, bang. It's real.
If you ask them, what do you plan on accomplish out of the game? They don't know. A lot of them don't. And that's the crazy part about it. A lot of them don't even know. And I wonder how many, if you ask them, like, so did you grow up in this neighborhood, that's going to honestly tell the truth. They ain't even renting over here, let alone own something over here. They broke, they ain't got no money. If I'm gonna be in the gang, it's gonna be for a purpose. We finna get rich. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be the millionaire club or something. It's not finna be no just to fight. That's crazy.
In the case of the bus stop shooting, GQ and Sandman's talents are beginning to pay dividends. The gang responsible for the shooting is now believed to be a crew known as the JoyRd Hit Squad, one of Detroit's oldest and most violent gangs.
This gang is responsible for a number of different shootings, armed robberies, carjackings.
Hello, how you doing? It's me again. I'm back, dog. From the backyard, still pushing that crack hard. I'm from the hood, in case you didn't know, it's Excelina. Where them boys made big weight.
They're involved in the drug trade. So, yeah, clearly the gang is a violent group of individuals.
The Hit Squad controls territory in northwest Detroit that extends from Joy Road to West Chicago Street and as far west as Southfield Freeway, where the bus stop shooting occurred. Police believe the hit was motivated by revenge against a rival gang member. What's more, eyewitnesses have identified two primary suspects.
We don't have an arrest warrant for anybody, obviously, but there's certainly people that we're focusing on. And these individuals are younger, 19, 20 years old, and represent part of the Hit Squad.
Their number one person of interest is Demetrius Hinton, a teen who's also wanted in connection with a more recent drug-related homicide. Hinton is still at large. Now, it's up to GQ and Sandman to locate the suspects before the trail runs cold.
Yeah, at 5 o'clock. Okay.
Behind an abandoned warehouse, where he can be certain of secrecy, GQ meets with an informant who has ties to the JoyRd Hit Squad. GQ's line of questioning is simple. Where is Demetrius Hinton?
The motherfucker is public enemy number one in Detroit as far as we're concerned. The shooters are. And we're not gonna let up until we turn over every rock to find the guy. Where do you think that he would go? Where would a 15, 16-year-old go?
Somewhere with some family. It had to be somewhere with some family. Wyoming.
The source delivers and gives GQ the latest intel on the Hit Squad and the whereabouts of their prime suspect. From meetups like this one, Gang Squad is able to come up with a location on Demetrius Hinton.
Demetrius Hinton, we just found out, he's been in Minnesota for the last 4 days. So he's down there rolling, selling dope. Source don't know exactly where in Minnesota, but apparently that the kid used to roll for the source, so.
Any other units know about this source?
No, I just got it today in the last 30 minutes.
He is aware that we're looking for him.
I don't even think so. I don't even think he knows. That's why he says out. I do have his associates here. This is right-hand man.
They're not involved, right?
Not involved, but they part of the hit
Probably
squad,
no.
so.
Oh, yeah.
Do a full workup on each and every one of them, meaning we know all of their associates and also family members, girlfriends, and stuff like that, just in case, you know, they try to get in touch with each other, which is probably going to happen.
That's right.
And
That's right.
everything.
It's a waiting game. And as soon as the suspects surface, the squad will be ready to strike. Oh, 700 hours. Before rolling out for patrol, Gang Squad street teams enjoy a time-honored tradition.
Hey, those donuts good, though, I'm telling you. Don't mind if I do. Watch this. This is how we uphold our image. I'm gonna uphold it today. Donuts good, aren't you? Delicious, number one.
Today, Officers Shooter and Pelly are on school patrol, part of Detroit's effort to combat gang crime at the source. In Detroit, gang affiliation starts young, as early as 9 years old. And the schools themselves are a gathering place for multiple and sometimes warring gangs. Maintaining high visibility in the schools is now a police priority.
We're basically the parents. I have to get them in line, let them know I'm in charge, something a parent should do, and at the same time, arrest them if necessary, and if I can, send them home, and once they go home, we don't know what they face.
After school, kids often make their way home through rival gang territory. A high-risk time for shootings. This is when Gang Squad does most of its patrolling.
How you doing, big fella? Come here for a minute.
Sort of doing two things at once. One, we're trying to look out for the kids and make sure they all get out, make it home safely and everything. But at the same time, we're hunting.
Come here, man. Take your hands out of your pocket. You got your ID? What's the last two classes you have? English. It's obvious you don't speak too well. I'm in charge out here. Goodbye. Go that way.
And because of their relationship, and I think the love that they actually have for kids, they're happy to go do it. I mean, at the end of the day, they want to see kids safe. Do they arrest a lot of kids with guns? Absolutely. Is it the focus of what they do to create criminal records for kids? Absolutely not. It's to make sure the environment's safe. And I've seen them do just as much counseling, quite frankly, as I have seen them gun chasing.
You're gonna say, oh, I'm tired of getting tickets, y'all give me tickets. You don't have a license. You ain't never had a license, you're 16. So if you're tired of getting tickets, why did you stop driving?
A lot of times what we tell them goes right out the window when they get home because they have to deal with their home life. He may see us for, what, an hour or two a day? Once he leaves, he has no longer any dealings with us. He's gonna go by what is taught to him at home.
Gang Squad puts an intensive focus on getting guns off the street, sometimes at a rate of 3 a day for a patrol team. But there are thousands of unlicensed firearms on the streets of Detroit, and the statistics are symptomatic of a much larger social problem. Kids in Detroit are often first introduced to gun culture at the toy store.
That's a toy. Normally they carry those in the service stations around the city of Detroit. All right, we're gonna show you the real weapon next to the fake weapon. And as you can see, almost identical. Younger kids, 8, 9, and 10, they'll get these toys and stuff like that innocently, okay? Not thinking that anything is wrong and stuff like that. Inadvertently, sometimes they'll carry them to school in their backpacks and stuff like that. It's a problem not only for schools, but for law enforcement. I cannot tell whether or not a weapon like this is actually real or not. And in a split second or two that you're gonna have to determine that fact, somebody can easily get killed.
When I was a kid and you had disputes, you'd have a fight and it was over with. Now the fights are one group shoots the other group, and then when they heal, they come back and shoot the other group. And it's kind of an ongoing lethal process.
And people don't fist fight, they shoot. If you get in an altercation and you beat me today, I'll come back with a gun. This time I won't lose. And that's the mentality they're thinking.
As violent as the gangs of Detroit are, their activities are hardly limited to turf wars. The sale of street drugs is a gang's primary source of capital. And for Gang Squad, following the drugs is often the best way to infiltrate. From his sources on the street, GQ has learned that the JoyRd Hit Squad, the gang believed to be responsible for the bus stop shooting, has partnered with another gang to sell narcotics.
And that's not uncommon for gang members to sell controlled substances out of one house.
GQ's anonymous source has also provided intel on the precise location of the dope house.
I'm gonna take him to a nice little gay spot where, you know, they gamble, sell drugs out of guns. It's a lot of gang activity.
To investigate further, GQ and Sandman are teaming up for an undercover stakeout. In civilian clothes, they're on their way to the territory of a gang known as BCB. GQ leads the way and Sandman follows behind in an unmarked van with our camera crew.
Going into the area of BCB, which stands for Burgess, Chapel, and Bentley. There's a little gang that's right up here. The way this truck's on, we might not go far. I'm a little rough and rugged around the edges. I understand that you have to have guidelines to keep certain people in order, but you can't be perfect trying to control an imperfect world, you know what I'm saying? But it's a whole lot of motherfuckers out here. You know, that's how you get their attention. The guy that you trying to restrain, he trying to knock your head off. So at some point, you can no longer just keep trying to restrain him. You might have to knock his head off to restrain him. And that's what a lot of the citizens don't understand. And the citizens that do complain a lot, they wouldn't even come out here and do this job if you paid them twice what I get paid. Okay, two. Okay. We're gonna go around here and see what they got going on right here. Can you see these guys right here? I don't believe he put me right here at the damn door. But gee, I don't believe you put me this close, man. I'm like, I might as well go on that porch with him.
GQ and Sandman are now parked directly in front of a multi-gang stronghold. Being identified as cops could put an end to their investigation and possibly turn deadly. For the rest of the operation, our cameras will stay concealed in the rear of the undercover van.
Now let's see what this clown does. Look like a marijuana smoker, you think? You see his left hand? See how it's clenched?
Like you got some money rolled up in it.
See what he does. Yep.
Gotta go give me a bag of weed.
You see, you can always tell about the buyers. There's dope house protocol. You want to have your money in hand, ready.
They might try to shut down, you know what I'm saying? A van just pull up, ain't nobody get out, so I'm gonna go act like I'm being interested in the house. All right.
To get a closer look, they'll pose as real estate agents looking at property, and no matter what happens, stay in character.
How long has that house been vacant? Been all right? My man. Yeah, we out here trying to get a little move on, man, and try to see if we can get these cribs like but
they're checking out some houses right
we
quick.
can buy them for about what, 12, 1,500? Oh, straight up? Yeah, that ain't a bad little motherfucker.
Look like somebody been sleeping in that motherfucker though.
Yeah.
Who he said he knows somebody?
Oh, he say, man, that ain't even worth buying. He said that motherfucker up. He said, I think he said it been vacant for a couple of months. Yeah, that's really all we really needed. He smelled like a reek with marijuana. That's really all we need to get a warrant.
While casing the dope house, GQ is approached by a young man in the street, wanting to know why they're there. And it turns out to be a breakthrough connection.
They were watching me, and they wanted to get a closer look to see who exactly we were. And just by chance, the guy, I recognized him being in one of the photos associated with the suspect in the bus stop shooting. That's one of the target guys, associates of the guy that we're looking for murder.
GQ and Sandman could take the suspect in for questioning, but that would blow their cover and alert the gang that they're being watched. Instead, they'll use what they've learned to get a warrant and penetrate further.
The 3 individuals that we encountered, they all reeked of marijuana.
That, plus IDing a person linked to the bus stop shooting, is probable cause.
As you can see, they're young guys, late teens to early to mid-20s, just as described by the source. So that should be enough.
With no idea that we the police.
Shaking hands with the devil. I got enough probable cause to get a warrant. We have 48 hours to execute it.
Officer for Detroit Police Department Gang Squad Unit, I have a probable cause search warrant.
I don't like to wait to execute a search warrant. So many things can happen within a 48-hour time frame. The probability of the drugs not being there, that's likely. So once I get the information, I really want to run with it.
At Detroit Gang Squad headquarters, GQ phones the DA's office to get permission to process a warrant. After getting the all clear, he types up a summary of his probable cause and takes the paperwork directly to a magistrate for signing.
Hey, how you doing, Steve? Morning. Hey, listen, we got a source that has some real good information about a certain address. We did some surveillance yesterday, met the target seller. Also, there could be an individual that's wanted for murder and 8 counts of attempt murder related to that bus stop incident earlier this year.
I need to see it in writing. If it's not in writing, it doesn't exist.
I got it approved to the assistant prosecutor this morning over the phone.
Swear affirm the contents of the affidavit in support of the warrant?
I do.
All right. You guys be safe.
We appreciate you. Take care, Jay.
Warrant in hand, Gang Squad mobilizes for an immediate raid on the BCB drug house.
Ain't a boy out here that could test my game. How would I look letting another man affect my lane?
They need to move quickly in order to capitalize on the intel gathered by GQ and Sandman. And they're up against an unknown number of armed gang members.
Raid time. Showdown.
We need a canine unit though, at some point. What you think?
Them puppies don't find nothing.
This is our shotgun man, Bam.
How you doing?
He sent them all to the back, send them to me, I shake them down and send them behind me.
So suppress anything that comes my way. Once they see this, they tend to think twice.
And this here is our raid commander, the sergeant, code name Sir.
Remember we used to say we wouldn't do this again?
You believe that?
Every time they bring us back in.
Briefing, come on in.
I got a lot of scriptures for you.
Hey, 400 gangster, look at that. Bust that sucker into. It was weak. You tore your pants. Hey, you look like a gingerbread cookie.
The table was broke, man. What am I supposed to do?
We got a van?
It was weak. Let's get on with this thing.
Everybody up? Okay, gonna do the search warrant. That's gonna be a 1-story, green wood frame, single family dwelling. It's gonna be a black male, 19 to 23 years of age, wearing a black jogging suit, possible name of the So who I got on shotgun? All right, Ruff, you shotgun. Who's back up?
Shooter.
Rep, where you gonna be?
Prisoner.
All right.
This is a house that's being operated by BCB gang members, Bentley, Chapel, and Burgess. You know, they terrorize that neighborhood. They do a lot of robberies.
Going to be guns inside those cars. Going to be guns on those persons.
If we encounter fire coming out, we're gonna take cover. I'll declare the barricaded government.
No one fire into the house if you hear shots inside.
Clearly defined target. Clearly defined target. You can't see, don't shoot. Don't let your shit down. Don't let no guards down. We going in hot. We going in ready. All right. Everything to me is ready to rock. Okay. I got one rule. Y'all come back to this briefing the way y'all left it. All right.
Hold on, we gotta say our prayer.
Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the spirit that you have with us, oh Father. Just carry us, oh Father. Stay with each and every one of us, oh Father. Deliver us safely to this location. Deliver us safely back. As your Son, Jesus Christ, has laid the footsteps, we thank you for the Holy Spirit that travels with us at this safety time. In Jesus' name, let everyone say amen.
Let's get out, let's get out, let's get something.
Let's do it.
Bang it, to the back, to the back. Get out of
Look, I got 2 herniated discs. I can't.
Man, get your ass on the damn car. Quit playing. Herniated disc my ass.
Yeah, we got the cars. Sure. I want everybody in the car.
The squad takes the house with military precision and cuffs everyone found on or near the property.
Officer.
Not even cussing.
But until the entire house is secure and all guns are found, no one can rest easy.
There's multiple people inside that house. We found marijuana. It was constituted felony possession with intent to deliver. We found a parole violator, as well as confiscated a few $1,000s.
More important than a drug bust, Gang Squad may have apprehended a familiar face. This man matches the mugshot of Demetrius Hinton, the primary person of interest in the bus stop shooting case.
What up, Edge? Hey, we think we might have this Hinton cat in custody. We're trying to match him up against the pictures. He look like him, but we still want to make sure.
Look exactly like him.
Yeah, we want to be sure though.
Yep. But we're hoping that he may be the person involved in the shooting. That's what we're hoping.
If it's not him, he's a hell of a twin brother.
Yeah, he got a heck of a twin.
Detroit's Gang Squad may have just cracked the bus stop shooting case, but they'll need to check fingerprints to determine if they've collared the right man, and it will take forensics to link him to the crime. The suspect is also wanted for a more recent shooting, a homicide in which Detroit police recovered a 9mm handgun. Proving a match between that gun and shell casings recovered from the bus stop shooting will take the case to the next level.
We're trying to draw comparisons between the gun and the casings. The gun that was used in the homicide, obviously, and the casings that were left at the scene.
Detroit's own ballistics lab was recently shuttered after too many errors were found in its exam results. So it's at the state crime lab that both gun and shell casings undergo rigorous testing to determine a match.
So in this case, we were asked to look at several 9mm fired cartridge cases, and we were given a Glock 9mm pistol. In this case, we would take test shots from the pistol and make our comparisons to the evidence found at the scene.
First, the Glock 9mm is fired into a sealed, water-filled test tank. It's a neutral environment that ensures any markings on the bullets or shell casings are from the gun itself. Then, the test rounds can be compared to shell casings recovered from the bus stop using a comparison microscope. When fired, every gun leaves a unique signature on both bullet and casing. These striations are as individual as fingerprints and can be used to determine a certifiable match between guns and the crimes they're used to commit. If the shells found at the bus stop match the gun used in Demetrius Hinton's other alleged homicide, it's strong evidence linking Hinton to the bus stop shooting. But lab results can take days to process, and Gang Squad will have to wait for the outcome to know if they've got the right man. And they aren't the only ones hoping for justice.
You just got home from school, ugly?
Yeah.
What y'all do at school today?
I did some math, science.
You ain't learned nothing? She'll never do nothing.
For 17-year-old Tiara Dickerson, the bus stop shooting isn't a newspaper headline or a case to solve. It's a reality she and her family struggle to overcome every day.
My first surgery was in my arm. It's a metal pin and screws down here to keep it together, and it's gonna be there forever. They had to repair about 7 different things in my stomach. My intestines, I know that they had to put back together.
I was there when it happened. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was real sad, yeah. She was just laying there so little and just almost lifeless.
A lot of things that I knew always could happen, I never thought it could happen to me. It helped me realize that it can happen to anybody, no matter who you are, how old you are, or where you are. It can happen to anybody at any time. Now I really don't like to be alone. I don't like the dark, and I don't like to be around as many people that I don't know. And I really don't like to stand at a bus stop anymore.
You know, you think about your own family, and you think about how a kid who could, you know, be doing the right thing, going to school, and just standing by a bus stop, ends up with the inability to ever have children, and, you know, wear a colostomy bag the rest of their life, you know, and, you know, the worst thing they ever did that day was get out of bed and go to school.
Tiara is nearing a full recovery. But there are thousands of kids in Detroit who aren't so lucky.
What are some of your dreams?
For my dreams? To get better. Hopefully I heal up all the way and then graduate high school and go to college, maybe in Florida, or stay here and go to college and become a lawyer, or I'll become a counselor and work with kids.
We prayed real hard and it worked, so I'm glad she okay. I don't mess with y'all. Unless y'all up here making noise.
There are over 1,000 shootings in Detroit every year. But the sheer volume of police work doesn't prevent Gang Squad from taking their work personally, or mask the disappointment that can come with bad news. Lab results are in, and the Glock 9mm does not match the shell casings found at the bus stop. And that's not all. The fingerprints of the man in custody don't match those of Demetrius Hinton, the prime suspect.
Fingerprints never lie. But hey, you know, we had to dust ourselves off and get right back out, right back on it. And we're doing it very tenaciously, aggressively, trying to find it. And we will find it.
It does make it more difficult. It gives you more motivation. You know, sometimes, you know, when the caseload gets so extreme, this gives you that extra push, that extra hour. When you were going to go home at, you know, 7 o'clock, you decided to go home at 8 o'clock. You know, it gives you more fuel to get these people off the street and to hold them accountable for what they did.
We're definitely working on this night and day. My phone never stops ringing. And I treat each incident as if it was somebody in my family, you know, and I think that's what drives me.
And for Detroit, a city that struggles to emerge from years of slow economic collapse, and whose young men increasingly look to violence for validation, the future remains a battleground.
I can't even say I made a dent. You can't control guns. You can't control what comes into the city, how people get weapons. You can only control a little bit at a time, what you can do with the time you're out there.
I think my future is very, very promising, you know. As long as God keeps me healthy. This is a job that I think I've been destined to do.
23 years on the department and I'm still not burned out. I'm just beginning. Loving every second of the day. Making that difference with this, not these.
Gang Squad for life. Yeah, I like that.